Okay, what's the connection between drugs and spirituality? So, I'm someone that's done quite a lot of drugs in my time, most of them, not all of them, but I've asked quite a lot, and had a history of various levels of illegality with that. I'm probably not going to talk about on YouTube, but I think it's okay to say I've done them. And I'm also someone that's been involved with meditation, embodiment, yoga, martial arts, all kinds of spiritual practice for God, the last 20 years now. There was some crossover between those things as well. At the moment, I'm long-term sober, so I'm 9 years drink and drug free. I'm not meditation or yoga free. I'm still involved with those. So how are they similar? How are they different? Well, okay, so both can change state. Let's be honest. Like a pint of beer might make you feel relaxed. So my half-hour yoga class, yeah. So they can both have positive states as well. We should be fair to drugs and yoga and meditation. Now the difference is that one can be kind of like the quick win, like drink. One puts a bit of effort. One, they might have different costs though. So there's my whole kind of framework for looking at comparing these things is to say, okay, how are they similar, how are they different, what are the benefits, what are the costs? Yeah, not to say you're a bad boy if you do this. Yeah, some people, have friends that smoke a bit of weed and it seems to affect them positively. If I'm honest, most of my friends that smoke weed these days seem to be not achieving so much in life as maybe they would like. I think there is a confusion as well by equating these things, and I can say there are some definite differences. So yes, if you go and do a meditation retreat, do loving kindness for 5 days, this can be a bit like being on an ecstasy pill. Loved up in that way, but there are also significant differences in how authentic it feels, how it's generated, and actually the states themselves. Yeah, often, for example, meditation is creating a state of relaxed alertness. And this is super helpful in life, yeah. Whereas being just like, kind of relaxed from alcohol or weed or whatever is not the same, yeah. And we actually know this. Like, as one spiritual teacher I know says, would you get in a car with someone on this drug? Well, if not, why would you get in a life with them? Why would you be their husband, their colleague, whatever it is? Yeah. So if it's not increasing our awareness, spiritual practice is basically awareness practices. Do drugs increase your awareness? People say they do. I think most don't. If we look at 3 categories of drugs, we can look at this more accurately. So there are depressants. Depressants make you less aware. They make you numb. So alcohol is essentially a numbing agent. It may look like it's making you emotional because it's reducing inhibition, and that for some people, to let it all out, at times may be a good thing, but then we have dependency issues, yeah? We also have dependency issues with spiritual practices, but we'll come to that. So let's go back to the point. So the numbing effects of some drugs are not going to increase awareness. What about stimulants? Well, as someone who's done plenty of amphetamines and a little bit of coke in my time, does that make you aware? Maybe there's a sort of hyper awareness that can happen to it. A cup of coffee. This is one of my few remaining drugs. Oh my God, let me shock you. What a drug. See, I'm not totally drug free. This is a Coke Zero. Fuck you, yoga purists. Water. Fish do not swim in water that is too pure. So does a little bit of caffeine, for example, wake you up? Yeah, have a cup of coffee in the morning. Does that make you more aware? I think we could probably say yes, actually, to that. Yeah. So, there's traditions of green tea, for example. Somehow tea is more spiritual than coffee or Coke. I don't fucking know why. Yeah. But yeah, I think we could say yes to that in terms of some basic awareness. Nicotine does increase blood flow to the brain. This is true. As philosophy students, lots of cigarettes. Obviously I'm not pro-smoking because of the physical reasons, but if we just look at awareness, there's some argument for that. Often, though, these things are making you tense and aware, which is actually not so aware in other ways. It's not creating that relaxed awareness. A line of Coke is not going to make you relaxed and aware. Yeah. So there's that kind of side of things. Then there's the hallucinogens, which people say, some call them ethnogens, this idea that it can make you more aware of other things that might not otherwise see. I think there's a case for this. In some ways, I don't qualify them as drugs. I've never known anyone to become addicted to mushrooms, for example. Maybe it's possible. Never seen it. I certainly had some extremely mind-opening, not just altering, opening experiences on hallucinogens, seeing the world differently. I think in some ways, seeing it from another perspective. I think I've seen some people who have taken like acid, LSD, like every weekend. They've just gone nuts, of course. So this is not I don't think a regular thing to be doing, but once a year, a few times in a life, in the right conditions, in a safe, friendly, relaxed way. There are legal ways to do this now, of course, as well. So hallucinogens, ethnogens, I actually think there's a case for. It's not kind of my path, I would say. But I know there's people into ayahuasca, for example, and this can be transformative. People give up heroin addictions from this. People change their life. I don't think I'd be where I am today if I hadn't done a few mushroom trips and kind of open my mind. It kind of just loosens the whole kind of cultural frame that we have. But again, not a regular thing, not something to do at a party, not something to do the day before a big job. So careful, guys. If you have mental health issues, maybe keep away from those. Yeah, can't condone illegal activity, of course. So legal ways to do it. So there's the loosening. So 3 basic categories there. We can also talk about inhibition. So yes, sometimes it's good to go crazy, you know, to let it all out. Cultures like Britain and Japan, which are very tight, embodiment terms, we talk about containment. You know, maybe you need that, but then again, it's like, well, that stops. The problem here is that if you rely upon a drug to do something for you, it withers your capacity to do it without the drug. This is the nature of addiction. So it's something which does something but reduces your capacity to do it for yourself. This creates this vicious cycle. So if you need alcohol to relax, you become less able to relax without it. And I think that's kind of sad because we can't always have a drink. You know, if you want to relax in, say, a business meeting or relax with your kids, maybe that's not the time to be drunk. Yeah. So this is the danger of becoming reliant upon external things rather than you know, say centering or meditation, yoga. These are things which we can, yes, we may also become a bit reliant upon. I think I'm reliant upon to my meditation to some extent, but, you know, I can meditate 10 minutes in the morning without a hangover, so the negative effects are less. There's not much cost in terms of time or in terms of, you know, I'm not spending hours at the pub, I'm not spending money, not costing my health. So that for me is a more efficient way to relax. It's something that I cannot become dependent, well, this dependency, but there isn't that, like, it's not getting in the way of other things that I care about. So I think the key thing for me with any addiction would be, do I do it compulsively? And you know, and I have been addicted by that definition to things like martial arts, to things like yoga. You know, I can't stop myself doing it almost. And the other one is, does it affect things I care about? Does it negatively impact on things I care about? According to my values, according to your values, right? Like, this isn't like, again, be your bad boy. Yeah. So again, and I have actually got to that point with things like yoga and meditation. I was meditating 4 hours a day at one point. It was actually negatively affecting things because I started to get weird. Yeah. You know, aikido to the point where I was not seeing my girlfriend or friends or whatever it was. Yeah. So yes, I think, you know, spiritual practices can also be addictions. They can be crutches in the same way. They can be compensatory. Like, I don't have to achieve anything in my life because I'm a really good yogi or a good meditator. Really? Is that compensating for actually just being a bit of a loser? A bit harsh, I know, but that's possible. So yeah, are they escapism? I definitely think like yoga's become like a drug in the sense of like a holiday. You know, people go to yoga, have this like holiday from reality. They walk past the homeless people and then, you know, feel okay about it because they then do yoga and feel blissed out. Yeah, maybe changing the world, not just accepting it. Look at my rants on the politics of spirituality. So the addictive issues can apply to the spiritual practices. The idea of, you know, for me, a true spiritual practice is bringing us more into contact with reality. I don't see that with the majority of drugs and alcohol. I see people getting out of contact with reality, both the reality of their emotional life, numbing the emotions, and then the external world, the political world, the body politic, the social body. You know, I don't see people that are drunk all the time being really involved in politics. I don't see them. You know, because of the way it reduces inhibition, it can also lead to behavior which is not in keeping with our ethical values. And I think ethics is underdone as a spiritual practice. And for me, anything which makes me more likely to be a dickhead, which I have a capacity for anyway, is unwise. If I can already be a jerk, why would I add jerk juice to that? Alcohol is a dickhead drug, basically. Sorry, guys, it is. It makes people act unpleasantly. This is statistically the case, and no police officer in the world would disagree with me about that. No one who works in a hospital would disagree with me about that. It makes people unpleasant. Yeah, even in relatively small quantities, people are more likely to do violent behaviour, say nasty things, blah, blah, blah. So if ethics is part of your spiritual practice, it's just not compatible. And I think there's a very good reason why in Buddhism, in Islam, in various spiritual traditions, these things are discouraged. Though there is another spirituality, which is about descending into the dirt and the life, and, you know, like this sort of trap of purity is one, like I never drink or I never touch a sugar, anything like that. And I think there is a trap of purity in that, as it's called in Buddhism, which, you know, is why there are these kind of tantra traditions of getting drunk or, you know, using sex or whatever. Yeah, be a bit careful with them. Most of the sort of Western people I know are blagging those, frankly. I think they're full of shit. Most of the people I come across who are saying, yeah, this is my aesthetic practice, smoking, or this is, you know, getting drunk is about my crazy wisdom. Is it really? Really? Come on. Be honest. Stop fucking with us. Yeah. So generally, I think, generally, I would say drugs and spirituality are going in opposite directions, and you can't have your cake and eat it. I think it's mature to actually, if not give up, to certainly moderate, to reduce those activities. So there's other people I look at and go, you know what, you need to get smashed. That's the best thing you can possibly do. You get fucked up. I've actually advised coaching clients to that very rarely, depending on their personality. Some people need to find that side of themselves, but as a regular thing, as a regular practice, I think, let's be honest, drugs and spirituality are generally going in opposite directions in terms of awareness and in terms of kindness, which for me is the heart of any spiritual practice, those two things. Some of my students have said, is like centering, is that like getting stoned? No, because it's about being aware, it's about being awake. It's not about monging out, being sleepy. So there's my thoughts on the connection between drugs, spirituality, embodiment, these things.